For as long as I can remember, my family has always come first. It wasn't even a question. I just did what needed to be done. When I landed a stable job after college, it felt natural to help my parents with their bills. At first, it was small things, covering groceries, paying for utilities when they were short on cash. But over time, it became an unspoken rule. My paycheck belonged to them as much as it did to me. It didn't stop with my parents. My younger brother, Ryan, needed help with his rent. I paid it. My Aunt Linda was struggling with car repairs. I transferred the money. It felt good knowing I could provide for them. They always told me how grateful they were, how lucky they were to have me. And honestly, I believed them. But gratitude wasn't the only thing they expressed. There were comments, subtle at first. My mom would joke that I was too busy working to find a husband. My dad would laugh and say, "At least you're useful for something." Ryan teased that I had no life outside my job. I brushed it off. They didn't mean it, right? Then came the expectations. If I ever hesitated to help, I'd hear, "Come on, you know we need you," or "Family takes care of each other." There was never a moment where I could say no without guilt pressing down on me. I convinced myself that this was love, that this was just how family worked. So I kept paying. I kept showing up. And I kept believing that they truly appreciated me. Until the night I saw the video. It was late when my phone buzzed with a message from Aunt Linda. A video. No context, no caption. Just a video. Curious, I tapped on it. Laughter filled my screen. My mom, Dad, Ryan, and Aunt Linda were sitting around the kitchen table, drinks in hand. My mom rolled her eyes. "Emma acts like she's some kind of saint. Please." Ryan scoffed. "She's pathetic. No life, no friends, just work. She should be grateful we give her a purpose." Aunt Linda chuckled. "Exactly. What else would she do with her money? Waste it on herself?" They all laughed. I felt my stomach drop. My dad leaned back in his chair, shaking his head. "She thinks she's so important because she pays for everything. Like, congratulations, you're our personal ATM." My chest tightened, my hands clenched around my phone. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the message disappeared. Aunt Linda had deleted it. I sat there, heart pounding, staring at the empty chat. She thought I hadn't seen it. For a long time, I didn't move. The people I had spent years supporting, the people I had sacrificed so much for, thought I was nothing more than a joke, a wallet. I could have confronted them right then. I could have called Aunt Linda and demanded an explanation, but I didn't. Instead, I took a deep breath and made a decision. I would wait. The next morning, I woke up with a strange sense of clarity. I had spent the night replaying the video in my head, feeling the sting of every word. But instead of confronting them in a fit of anger, I decided on something else. I would let them think nothing had changed. I answered my mom's morning text as usual. "Hope you're doing well." I responded to Ryan's message about his weekend plans with a simple thumbs up. When Aunt Linda sent a meme, I laughed along. I wanted them to feel comfortable, to believe I was still the same Emma, the one they could use, the one who never questioned, never resisted. But I wasn't. Every interaction felt different now. I saw through their words, their smiles, the casual way they asked about my day before slipping in. "Oh, by the way, can you cover the water bill this month?" It wasn't even a question. It was an expectation. So I waited. I let them play their little game, pretending I didn't know what they really thought of me. And with each passing day, the anger inside me didn't fade. It sharpened. Then, finally, the moment came. My mom called, her voice warm and familiar. "Sweetheart, it's that time of the month again. Can you send the usual amount?" I took a breath, and for the first time ever, I said no. There was silence on the other end of the line. For a second, I thought the call had dropped. "What?" my mom finally said, her voice tight with confusion. "I said no," I repeated, firmer this time. A strained laugh. Emma, don't be ridiculous. We need that money. You know that. I do, I said, keeping my tone steady. But I'm done paying. The shift was immediate. Her voice lost all warmth. After everything we've done for you, you're just going to abandon your family? I expected anger, but I wasn't prepared for the sheer speed at which the guilt tripping started. Within minutes, my phone was buzzing with messages. My dad's was blunt. Stop being selfish. Aunt Linda's was softer, almost amused. You're overreacting, sweetheart. Don't make a scene. Ryan's was angrier. Are you serious right now? You're just going to screw us over like this? I ignored them all, but they weren't done. Within hours, the messages escalated. My mom sent voice notes about how I was turning my back on the people who raised me. My dad accused me of forgetting where I came from. Ryan sent a long rant about how I was ruining his life by making things so much harder for him. I stared at my phone, feeling the weight of years of obligation pressing down on me. I had known they would react badly. I just hadn't realized how quickly they would turn on me. But I had made my choice, and I wasn't backing down. The calls didn't stop. If anything, they got worse. My mom's messages turned desperate. Emma, please. We're your family. We need you. Then came the passive-aggressive ones. After everything we sacrificed for you, this is how you repay us? My dad tried a different tactic, anger. You think you're better than us now? Just because you have money? Aunt Linda took a softer approach. Sweetheart, don't do this. You know we love you. You're just upset. Let's talk this through. But Ryan was furious. His messages were rapid fire, one after another. You're being a selfish brat. You don't care about anyone but yourself. Then, moments later, you owe us. We took care of you for years. Now it's your turn. That one stung. Because for a split second, the guilt tried to creep in. I owed them? Hadn't I spent the last several years repaying every bit of kindness they had ever shown me? Hadn't I sacrificed my own comfort, my own happiness to make sure they were taken care of? I gripped my phone, heart pounding. This wasn't love. This wasn't gratitude. This was control. And I was done being controlled. I had barely processed the last round of messages when there was a loud knock at my door. I didn't need to check. I already knew who it was. Opening it, I found Ryan standing there, arms crossed, jaw tight. We need to talk. I sighed but stepped aside. The moment he walked in, he turned to face me, eyes burning with frustration. What the hell is wrong with you? I raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? You're seriously cutting us off? Just like that? His voice was laced with disbelief. Do you have any idea how much you're screwing us over? I folded my arms. I have an idea. Yeah. He scoffed. Jesus, Emma, what happened to you? You used to care about your family. My patience snapped. I do care, Ryan. That's why I paid for everything. But you don't care about me. You never did. His expression shifted, but he recovered quickly. That's not true. You're just mad over some stupid money. You're making this a bigger deal than it is. I inhaled sharply, then locked eyes with him. I saw the video. His face went pale. For the first time since he walked in, he was speechless. I let the words sink in before continuing. I heard everything you said. Every single word. Ryan swallowed hard. Emma, come on, it was a joke. You know how we are. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. A joke? You called me a pathetic failure, an ATM. That's not a joke, Ryan. That's who you really are. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. He had nothing to say. So I did the only thing left to do. I pointed to the door. Get out. Ryan stood there for a moment, staring at me like he couldn't believe what was happening. But I didn't waver. I didn't beg for an explanation or let the guilt creep back in. Eventually, he let out a sharp breath and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I locked it. Then I grabbed my laptop. If they wanted to talk about what I owed them, I would show them exactly what that looked like. I spent the next hour pulling up bank statements, organizing payments, listing every single expense I had covered over the years. Rent, utilities, groceries, car repairs, medical bills, random emergency transfers. Line by line, I documented everything. By the time I was done, the total was staggering. I took a deep breath and opened my email. Subject: Final statement. I attached the document and kept my message short. Since you all seem to think I owe you something, here's a list of everything I've paid for over the years. Consider this my final contribution. Don't contact me again. Then I opened the family group chat and said, "Never ask me for anything again. I'm done." Before anyone could respond, I left the chat. Then, one by one, I blocked them all. And just like that, for the first time in years, I was free. The silence was deafening. No more texts, no more calls, no more demands. At first, it felt unnatural, like I was waiting for something to happen, for the guilt to creep back in, for the regret to settle in my chest. But as the days passed, something strange happened. I felt lighter. I woke up without immediately dreading a new request for money. I went to work knowing my paycheck was mine alone. I came home to a quiet apartment that felt peaceful for the first time in years. For so long, I had convinced myself that supporting my family was my duty, that it was love. But now, with distance, I saw it clearly. It had never been love. It had been control, disguised as obligation. I started doing things I had always put off, treating myself to small luxuries, going out without checking my bank balance in fear, saving for my own future instead of pouring everything into theirs. And the best part? For the first time in forever, I didn't feel like just an ATM. I felt like a person again. The peace didn't last long. Even though I had blocked them, my family found other ways to reach me. Aunt Linda emailed me first. "Emma, please be reasonable. You're upset, and I get that. But you can't just abandon your family over one mistake." One mistake. That's what they called it. Then came my mom, using a different number to send a long text about how she never meant to hurt me, and how families fight sometimes. But we always forgive each other, right? My dad took a different approach. He left a voicemail, voice cold. "You think you can just cut us off like that? After everything we did for you? You'll regret this, Emma." But Ryan? Ryan didn't bother pretending. His email was short and bitter. "Wow. So you're really doing this? Hope you enjoy your perfect little life without us. Don't come crawling back when you realize how selfish you've been." I read every message, and then, without replying, I deleted them. They still didn't get it. They weren't sorry for what they had done. They were just sorry they had lost their source of money. And that only proved I had made the right choice. Even now, with the dust settling, I can't help but think back to everything that happened. Cutting off my family wasn't easy. There are days when the guilt tries to creep in, whispering that I should have handled it differently, that maybe I overreacted. But then I remember the years of sacrifice, the money, the expectations, the way they laughed at me when they thought I wasn't watching. And I remind myself, I didn't walk away from love. I walked away from people who only valued me for what I could give them. Still, I wonder, was I too harsh? Should I have given them a chance to make things right? Or was this the only way to truly be free? What do you think? Was I wrong?